Welcome to the CouchScouts Podcast. We provide league-winning analysis, advice, and tools to help you dominate your league and build a dynasty. Scout, draft, win. Here's your host, Matt Cooper.
Welcome to the CouchScouts Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cooper. With me is my co-host, Matt Rupert.
How you doing, my man?
And Matt Jackson.
What's going on, guys?
Not much. It's been a fun day. We were on fantasy football today this morning, Rupert and I were, so that was a good time. Always fun.
It's been a day of podcasting for you guys.
Yeah.
Sure
Shout
has.
out Heath Cummings. We always appreciate when he has us on the show.
I got a little salty, though. I sent you guys a message in the YouTube chat, and you didn't respond to me. So
I saw it.
I'm slightly
I
salty.
saw it as well. It
Salty
wasn't
about
my
it.
show, so I didn't feel like I really had a lot of leeway to respond to comments. But I saw it. I appreciated the support there, Jackson. So
Shout out to
tonight-
Heath, the GOAT, on his birthday, having us on.
Birthday to Heath.
yes, he is the GOAT for sure. Fun fact. So since this is our show, I'll just talk. I met Heath through a group chat that was for believers, Christians that are also in the fantasy industry. So that's how I met Heath, and now I've been on his show, I think 4 times. So pretty cool. I feel out of place every time I'm on there. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm on a CBS podcast. So Heath is a strong believer, though. He's an elder at his church and a great man. So I respect him a lot, more than just as a fantasy analyst. But let's get into it. So on tonight's episode, we are continuing our mini series that we're calling The Second Look. So if you're new to the channel, which some of you might be, we have been going through this series really from December until last week that we were calling Inside the Prospect, where we would take a deep dive every week, every episode on one of these prospects from the 2025 rookie class. We would go trait by trait, analyzing in detail what we saw on the film about that player, strengths, weaknesses, where we would draft them, all that kind of stuff. And we wanted to wrap that up a few weeks before the draft so that we could do this little mini series called Second Look. And this is where we're going back. We're looking at players that a lot of them maybe we hit right at the beginning, early in the process, months ago in December. So we want a fresh look. Some of them are guys that were off consensus. We're either like much higher than consensus or much lower than consensus. And so obviously, if we're going to be off consensus on a take, we want to make sure we're sure about it. So it's worth taking another look. In some cases, maybe it's somebody that we saw differently. Maybe 1 or 2 of us really liked a player. The other 2 didn't as much. Those are the types of things that we're going back and looking at. And so on tonight's episode, we are going to be talking about Kaleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa, and Quinshon Judkins, running back out of Ohio State. And for Kaleb, he was actually, if I'm not mistaken, he was the very first prospect we covered on the Inside the Prospect series, December 1st, basically. So it was interesting looking back at him after, essentially 5 months since we did the film study. Quinshon Judkins was more recently, but Jackson was not on the show, so we're going to get to hear his thoughts on Judkins for the first time. And, we didn't hate Judkins, but we were a little lower than consensus on him and much lower than consensus on Kaleb. So these are 2 guys we felt like we should take another look at. So that's who we're hitting tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in and giving it a listen. We're going to start with Kaleb Johnson. All right, 6'1", 224 pounds. And he ran a 4.57 40-yard dash with a 1.62 10-yard split. That was tied for the worst 10-yard split at the combine. So not a lot of, we're going to talk, I guess, because we actually had pretty good scores for speed and burst on Kaleb Johnson. And the combine didn't necessarily bear that out. 4.57 is not bad at all for a 224-pounder. But the 1.62 10-yard split is not super ideal. So production-wise, he was okay. His first couple of years had actually a pretty big true freshman season, 779 yards and 6 touchdowns as a true freshman. took a little bit of a step backward his sophomore year. I don't actually have the context on that in front of me. I don't know if he got hurt or just earned less touches or what. He had less carries, less yards, less touchdowns. But then this year as a junior, he really broke out. 240 carries, 1,537 yards. That is some monster production in the Big Ten, with 21 rushing touchdowns, 6.4 yards per carry. I mean, those are huge stats in arguably the toughest conference in terms of defenses out there in the nation. And so justifiably with that stat line, he has become a big name in this class. I think he has a first round rookie ADP right now. I saw that. I was looking at Football Guys has a dynasty rookie ADP where they did like 6 mock drafts or something and kind of got the ADP for that. And Kaleb Johnson on average was the 11th pick. So this was one QB, so maybe drop him a few spots for Superflex. But you're talking about late first round, early second round ADP based on this Football Guys on their mock drafts. So that's a pretty high pick. And when we talked about him last time, I'll let you, Rupert, give a little summary because we might have some new listeners. Obviously, if you want our full breakdown, go back and listen to that episode from December. Just search our feed for Kaleb Johnson and you should find it. Of course, you can also buy the rookie guide, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can get our full thoughts on him there too. So we're not going to go trait by trait on this episode, but why don't you give the people, Rupert, a little bit of a just kind of 10,000 foot overview. What did we say about Kaleb Johnson?
We liked his vision and patience pretty well. And he does a good job of reading his blocks and leverage. He looks very subtle in the way he can kind of manipulate a block, lean one way to get the defender to bite inside and then cut it outside when he's in the hole. Seeing a lot of good things like that. He's very good at breaking tackles, big, strong guy. Doesn't play with the best pad level, but kind of makes up for it with just sheer power. Think that his game speed or his long speeds burst, if you give him a runway, he'll get up to full speed and then he's tough to catch. The problem is when he doesn't get that runway. He's not a guy that can create on his own in the backfield. Just not quick enough feet there. But his game speed and, kind of acceleration when he does have that hole is pretty impressive for his size.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary. And so overall, our grade on him in the rookie guide, I'll just read off his film grade because we have tweaked that a little bit, but we haven't updated it in the rookie guide yet. So what's on our grade sheet, we'll tell you at the end of the podcast, but what's on our rookie guide, we'll tell you at the beginning, and we'll see how different that is. So 71.41 was the grade that we had on him prior to this second watch, which is the low end of a flex option. We felt like he's landing spot dependent. He needs a good offensive line. He needs a lot of touches. A volume guy for sure that needs to kind of wear down the defense over the course of a game. Not a guy that's going to be able to produce for you on like a committee 10 to 15 touch kind of guy. So that's where we landed on Kaleb Johnson, which again, we don't hate him. But that is a significant lower than consensus, especially in such a loaded running back class. Like 71.4 would have been a pretty good grade last year, but in this class, that has him pretty far down the rankings. So that's where we were at on him. And so the question we're going to be tackling tonight is, after going back and watching multiple games of all 22 for the first time on him since December, did we still feel the same way? Did our notes this time match our notes last time? Did our grades change at all? Where are we at with that? And I'll throw it to you, Jackson. What did you notice different, if anything, from the last time you watched? Did anything change for you?
Yeah, so a few things honestly changed for me, right? I had some grades honestly go down a little bit. I'm not in consensus between us two. I don't feel like, at least I know talking to you, Cooper, this afternoon, your grades went up a little bit in some aspects. I texted you earlier and I was like, early this afternoon. I was like, is it possible, to be even further away from consensus on Kaleb Johnson? Because that's kind of how I felt. I still believe that he has great vision. Not much change for that for me. I still have him at an 8 for vision. I thought, he does a really really good job, as Rupert said, leveraging his blocks, reading coverage, reading his blocks, and diagnosing the lane. One aspect that did go down for me by a good bit, honestly, was his patience. I dropped him, I believe, from a 7.5 in patience all the way down to a 6 in patience. What I really noticed when I watched him is he is definitely a get ball and go type of runner. He doesn't often allow for his blocks to develop. He just kind of gets the ball and runs. And for a lot of time, there was an open lane, so that it was easy to miss. But that was something that did go down. He's still, the power back. Still have him graded high when it comes to things like his break tackle. I have him at an 8. I've got him at a 8.5 for physicality and power. Like, those things didn't change. I think he is still who we said he is, right? He's a great power back that can break some tackles. I did lower, though, his contact balance just a little bit. I've still got him at a 7, but I did notice more frequently this time. It felt like more so than I noticed the first time I watched him. He went down on the first tackle behind the line of scrimmage a good amount of times. Of course, he did break a good amount of tackles as well. So it's not saying that he was bad at this. But I had him sitting in at 8.5 for contact balance. And I didn't see that personally. So when you tally all that stuff together, mixed with his pad level, which is just atrocious, for somebody that has such power and such physicality, he runs upright, and he is not a lower the boom type of guy. So with all that being said, his grade went down a little bit for me.
Okay. Rupert, what about you, man?
Yeah, pretty much saw the same thing. I feel like I saw basically just reinforced my feeling. I think my grade went down like 0.06, so it didn't have much change there. I dropped his pad level down a little bit, but I bumped up his game speed like half a point. I feel like watching him again, I was like, oh yeah, he does get up to speed fairly quickly. Especially like after seeing some of the other like 220-pound backs that we've watched. It is interesting to like go back and watch a guy we watched 4 or 5 months ago after we watched the whole running back class to be like, oh, okay, yeah, he's got some good speed and athleticism. But then also you see he has like no real shiftiness. I saw him trip over his own feet like trying to make a cut 3 times in like a couple games. He get one-on-one with the safety and not make any move, just run straight into him and hope that he breaks a tackle. So I don't really move him anywhere in my rankings. I feel like he's the exact same guy I thought he was. He's a guy that I think can be very fantasy relevant, but he has to go to the right situation. He has to go to a place that's going to feed him the carries, and they have to have a good offensive line to where he's not getting hit in the backfield all the time. Because like Jackson said, he's not going to be breaking tackles in the backfield. He has to get up ahead of steam if he's going to be breaking these tackles because of his pad level and lack of elite quickness, elusiveness, cutting ability to make a guy miss in a phone booth in the backfield.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, the grade did go up a little bit, but I would say that my overall feelings about him didn't change a ton. So my patience grade went down a little, similar to what you said there, Jackson. It was like he's a get ball and go as soon as he gets it. That being said, I put his vision grade up a little bit. I thought in spite of just get the ball and go, like he diagnosed so quickly. He didn't have to like sit there and wait and watch and then react to what he saw. He was reacting on the fly really well, just like reading leverage. That was something that Foz, he's our quarterback guru, but he knows his stuff at other positions too. And he pointed out, he was like, when you go back and rewatch Kaleb Johnson, watch for like, he's a master at understanding leverage. And I saw that, like, whenever I would slow down and pause the tape, he just instinctively and very quickly in real time would identify the leverage of the defense and go the other direction, and even use it against them. He would kind of bait to the middle and then bounce out, get them to choose the wrong leverage. So yeah, I just thought his diagnosing in real time was probably even better than I gave him credit for. So I think I went from like an 8 to an 8.5 in terms of his vision, and then dropped his patience grade just slightly. I think like maybe half a point. So I dropped him, maybe it was a whole point. I dropped him in vision from sorry, I lost my spot. Yeah, from a 7 to a 6. So 8.5 for vision, but a 6 for patience. And then the quickness and elusiveness, I went up by like half a point each. I think he's still not quick or elusive. I'm not saying that. Like, the grades are still below average there. Like, I think I went from a 5 to a 5.5 on both of those, which 6 is NFL average in our grading. But I think two benefits that I had on this tape watch that I didn't have in December. One, we had a few more games in the film room that we didn't have before. And two, the context of now I've watched every other back in the class. When you're starting fresh and it's your first one of a new year and you haven't watched the tape or given grades in a year, you're kind of like making some judgment calls on like, I think this is what a 5 is. I think this is what a 6 is, right? And then you go back now and I'm watching and I've graded every other back in the class, and I've seen guys like Jaquindon Jackson and Ollie Gordon and, you know, some of these just absolute plotters that are big guys that have no speed, no burst, no change of direction. And then I watch Kaleb Johnson and I'm like, okay, compared to those guys, like, he's downright quick. So I do think I got a new appreciation for Kaleb's movement skills as a 220 plus pounder, that he does move significantly better than some of those other guys in the class. It's not amazing. He's not as quick as Judkins, for example. He's not as explosive as a Hampton. So even for a 220 pounder, he's not as elite as some of the other backs in this class, but he's definitely above average, I would say, for his size. So some of those grades went up a tiny bit. He is super upright. You mentioned that, Jackson. I don't know why I gave an above average grade there before. I think I had him at like a 7 or something for pad level. And I was like, no, he's got awful pad level. Like, this is below NFL average. So I bumped him down on the pad level grade to a 5.5 on pad level. And I think I might have had him at a 6.5 or a 7 before. So, but overall, like, because I bumped up the quickness, the elusiveness, the vision, like, those are highly weighted traits for us. And so he went up 2 points on my film grade. He was around a 71. Now he's around a 73, still in the range of a flex option, but a little bit towards the higher end. I mean, just for context, a 73 in last year's class would have been good for like 4th, I think. Like, it would have been a lower score than Brooks, Lloyd, Irving, and a little bit higher than Benson. So he would have been RB3 in last year's class for me on tape grade, which is crazy because in this year's class, he's not even top 10 with a 73. And so, yeah, my overall grade for him, I mean, he came out still just below RJ Harvey, just above Brashard Smith. So, you know, I bumped him in my rankings 2 spots. He went up above RJ Harvey because I was like, you know what? If they're that close in film grade and one's a 21-year-old early declared that's getting day 2 buzz and the other is a, you know, undersized, probably day 3, 24-year-old, it just doesn't make sense for me to have Kaleb above Harvey. So I made a small tweak to my rankings, but overall, like, he was my 31st ranked prospect, and now he's my 29th ranked. So I still have a 3rd round ranking on him, which is way below consensus. I mentioned that ADP, he was at 11th. and I'm sitting here at 29th in my ranking. So I'm still probably going to come away with 0 shares. And it's not that I hate him as a player. Like 73 is a very respectable grade. It's just it's such a good running back class. He's such a one-trick pony. I did like the receiving. I like the receiving for for a big power back. Like he had really natural, reliable hands. Not amazing after the catch, but he could catch it really reliably, and he was solid in pass protection. So I like the 3-down potential. I could see him moving up a little bit post-draft if some of the guys in front of him go day 3 and he goes day 2 to a solid spot. But overall, I'm probably never going to be at or above consensus on Kaleb Johnson. So we took a second look, guys. What more you want me to say? We watched the film twice. We still don't love it. It is what it is. I think he's just going to be a guy that the Couch Scouts are fading. So we got one more prospect to talk about tonight, so we should probably get there. But before we do, I'm going to take a quick break and shout out our website. So CouchScouts.com. Our philosophy is if you scout really well, you're going to dominate your rookie draft. And if you dominate your rookie draft year after year, you're going to dominate your fantasy league. You're going to keep accruing value. That's going to help you make trades. Like everything trickles down from scouting in Dynasty. And so we are big film guys. We are on the film grind all the time. And our website has tons of resources. So we've got the rookie guide, which just dropped yesterday. 73 prospects, 166 pages, detailed film analysis, film grades, rankings, color-coded by tier. I mean, it's a fantastic resource. We're really proud of it. We put, I don't even want to know how many hours of research and writing and everything went into that thing. But all of that so that you can just look at it and have the ultimate cheat sheet to your rookie draft, and you don't have to spend those countless hours watching the film. So definitely get in there on Couch Scouts right now. Because we were on FFT this morning, we announced a promo where the first 100 people to use the code FFT are getting 50% off any of our annual packages. 50. So that is a steep discount, and it's not going to last. Last time we were on FFT and we did one of these promo codes, they went like hotcakes. So we've already had a bunch of new members sign up today. Definitely get in on that while it's still an option for you. And we've got bonus podcasts tonight. We're going to be doing the Second Look series, but with Scataboo and Trevor Etienne. And so that'll be for members only on the website. Lots and lots of good stuff behind the paywall on Couch Scouts. So definitely check that out. Our packages start at just $5 a month normally, and you're going to get that 50% discount. So, I mean, you can get one of our packages, I think, for a whole year for like $30. And we pack a ton of value into that thing. So definitely check that out, CouchScouts.com. And without further ado, we're going to get into our second prospect of the day, Quinshon Judkins, 5'11", 221 pounds. He ran a 4.48 40-yard dash, which is flying at 221 pounds, 38.5-inch vertical, and 11-foot broad jump. I mean, these are crazy combine numbers. He tested like an absolute freak show, which I don't know about you guys. It surprised me. I didn't think he was unathletic at all on our first watch, but I would not have thought that he would be putting up those kinds of eye-popping combine numbers. He had 3 years in college, went over 1,000 yards rushing all 3 years. His first year as a true freshman in the SEC, he went for almost 1,600 rushing yards. Has been at least mildly involved as a receiver too, 15 or 20 catches all of his collegiate years. So very, very good production profile. And Jackson, since you were not on the show when we talked about him the first time, I will let you go ahead and just overview of us.
So it was weird. You guys got the second look. I feel like I was going back and getting a first look at Quinshon Judkins. So, I watched all season because I watch Ohio State football. So I kind of had an idea, of Quinshon Judkins. But when I went back and watched him, he was somebody that I really liked. I thought that he had great vision, great patience. I gave him both 7s in that category. I thought he diagnoses lanes well. I thought he reads his blocks well. I thought he follows his blocks really well. One thing that I was kind of surprised about, I don't know if you guys said this on the last pod that we did on Quinshon Judkins. I need to go back and listen to it, but I was surprised that he wasn't as elusive as I thought he was going to be. I don't know why I thought in my mind that he was like this small, elusive, quick back.
Because you played NCAA football 25.
Because I played college football 25.
He had that Hall of Fame spin move.
He had that Hall of Fame spin move in the game, and that was they lied to us, Cooper. He did not have that in real life, it felt like. I gave him a 6.5 for elusiveness. Again, it's not horrible, right? But it's just a little bit above average. Like that's not how he wins. How he wins is by breaking tackles. It's through his physicality and power. Like I gave him a 9 for physicality and power. I gave him a 9 for pad level. I gave him an 8 for breaking tackles. Like that's how he wins. He's a physical back that can run you over. He's not going to run around you. He's going to take the punishment to you, which was a little surprising for me. When I look at those combine testing numbers, like those testing numbers speak to like functional athleticism. They speak to like functional game speed, quickness, right? And at least when it comes to game speed and quickness, like I didn't think he was as fast as his 40 time says he was. Like I gave him a 6.5 for quickness, 6.5 for game speed. Again, not horrible scores, but he wasn't blowing you out of the water with his long speed, with his ability to have great bursts and to just hit the lane. Oh no, or to have good quickness, with elusiveness and whatnot. I did think he did have good bursts through the holes. I gave him an 8 for that. I thought he when he got the ball, he exploded through the hole, but his long speed was really where I found the problem in his game. I thought he was decent as a receiver too. I gave him 7 as a receiving back. Again, I thought he could be used in third down, at least coming out of the backfield. Not a great blocker by any stretch of the imagination. I gave him a 6 for pass blocking. I didn't think he really excelled at this. So it was weird. Like I came into the game film expecting to see this elusive speed guy, and I walked away with like, oh, he's like a power back that
he is a power back. He is like
I don't.
You were misled by the video game.
I was misled by college football 25. That's what I learned when watching Quinshon Judkins film.
Rupert, what stuck out to you on the second watch, man?
Watching him right after watching Kaleb Johnson, I was really impressed with him being, similar size, 220 plus pounds. How much more elusive and quick he was. Like I saw him, defenders meeting him in the backfield, he can make them miss and then turn it into a gain, where I pretty much never saw that from Kaleb Johnson. So my grade actually bumped up slightly on Judkins. I just feel like he's so well-rounded. He's built to be able to be a bell cow. He's not really elite or spectacular in anything, but he's just a very, very good running back. And I feel like I almost underestimated him the first watch because there's not any like truly wow elite factor, but it's just like, oh, turn out positive yards is like down in, down out. So again, he kind of falls into the same category with him not being as explosive. Like I feel like Kaleb Johnson, even though his 40 was a lot slower, has a lot better top end speed than I saw with Judkins ever on film. So to me, this shows that Judkins like really put in the work and trained for the combine. And we'll see if that translates that speed that he may have found to the next level. To me, I feel like he's such a safe player, but to be a fantasy star, he's going to need a lot of touches in my mind.
Yeah, it was interesting watching these two back to back. And I think you're right. The long speed looked better for Kaleb Johnson. I think the burst looked better for Judkins. I didn't think either of them was super quick, but slight edge to Judkins there. I think Judkins, I noted this the first time we talked about him, is a little bit tight-hipped. Not the most elusive change of direction guy. But yeah, most of what I saw was really similar to it's only been a couple of weeks since we watched him last time. So it's not really that surprising. Like we don't have new film that we didn't have before. It's not like we're coming back to it with fresh eyes after a couple of months. So for me, I bumped his receiving down just a little bit. I saw some drops and was like, yeah, this is like, and like Jackson noted the pass pro. I didn't change his pass pro grade, but I noticed a lot of like diving at people's legs and just sloppy technique there. I think more often than not in today's NFL, where you have committees, he's going to have to be in the perfect spot to not get taken off the field there. Like he would have to land somewhere that just didn't have anybody else, because I just think he's a little below average as a pass catcher. Like he can catch. He's not great after the catch. He's not out there running routes. There are some drops. The pass pro is iffy. So that's my biggest concern with Judkins. I dropped him a little bit on the pass catching grade, but I also bumped his power slightly up. Like after watching, I think I had the exact same grade for power on Kaleb as I did for Judkins. And after watching them back to back, I was like, yeah, Kaleb or Judkins runs with better power. He lowers the pads more. He pops guys backwards more. So I bumped the power grade, I think, from an 8.5 up to a 9 for Judkins, but dropped the receiving down a little bit, and those kind of offset each other. So the overall grade for Judkins really didn't change for me. He didn't move up or down my rankings at all. So I've got him as RB5, which I think he's a consensus top 4 guy. A lot of people are considering him in the same tier with like a Travion Henderson. I don't see that for me personally. I'm not like crazy low on him. I still have him ranked as a first round rookie pick. But for me, like Hampton, Henderson, Genty are clearly better than him. I would 100 times out of 100 draft those 3 guys over him. And then there's a 4th guy who we're going to talk about on the bonus podcast tonight that even after a second watch, I would still take over him. I feel confident in that take. So subscribe to CouchScouts.com and tune in to find out. But yeah, nothing really changed for me on second watch too much for Judkins. So, all right. Enjoyed listening to you guys on FFT with Heath. Just joined the website. Looking forward to diving into the rookie guide. Thank you. We really appreciate you, man. Really appreciate the subscription. And we say this all the time, but it's crazy to me that people spend real US dollars to hear what we have to say. It's, the brand is what the brand is. We're just a couple of guys on the couch watching prospects, making our observations. So
you guys
thank you.
like seriously. Know about the shirt.
I mean, the people who are on the audio feed aren't seeing us flex our shirt, and the people who are watching on video,
Couch quick
Scouts,
takes, guys. 5 minutes before the show. Hey, Jackson, wear your Couch Scout shirt. That's all it takes.
Hey, we were on FFT today. Of course, we wore the Couch Scouts shirt. What do you want me to say, man? Got to rep the brand. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thank you to those who have subbed today. Really means a lot to us. And if you haven't already, leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast app you're listening on. And make sure you check the show notes for a link to our free Discord. It's a community of over 200 people in there talking shop all the time, getting advice on trades, talking about these rookies. It's a really fun group of people. And it's totally free. So definitely click the link, join our Discord. We would love to get to know you. And with that being said, we're going to log off and go do this bonus show. So the members, we'll see you there in a few minutes. And